This program was first broadcast on Canterbury's access media station, Plains FM, and was made with the assistance of New Zealand On Air.
Welcome to your weekly dose of the Accountology Show. I'm your host and chartered accountant, Nicole Haig, with an insatiable curiosity for uncovering accounting ideas to help businesses grow. I have so many nuggets of gold to share. Are you ready to make your good business great? Let's get stuck right in. Hey, it's your host Nicole Haig and welcome to another exciting episode of the Accountology Show. Today, we're thrilled to welcome Brent Lattimore to our show, a serial entrepreneur, including simultaneously running a successful mortgage broking business along with multiple businesses in the beauty industry. Brent has over 31 years of experience in the finance industry and was renowned for his strong customer-focused work ethic, including building solid relationships with not only clients, but all the major banks. His commitment to engaging with clients and finding the best financial solutions has earned Brent a reputation as a trusted and reliable advisor. Brent's expertise spans a wide range of financial services, including home loans, investment property, business loans, and development loans. His extensive experience and deep understanding of the finance sector enabled him to provide invaluable guidance and support to clients. And the beauty industry? Well, I'm intrigued, as I am sure you all are, as to how Brent fell into this industry, and we'll be asking him exactly that very shortly. Because of Brent's serial entrepreneur experience, he's empathetic towards business owners and the challenges of running a successful business, and I'm sure today will provide us some very relatable insights. You would think that running multiple businesses would leave one very scarce on time. However, Brent is a dedicated father of three who enjoys staying active, reading and watching basketball, and a black tip in
Taekwondo.
Yeah. So join us as Brent shares his wealth of knowledge, insightful stories and practical advice on navigating this complex world of finance, offering you all a chance to learn from one of the industry's best. Are you a business owner struggling with profit, cash flow, or to find balance between work and life? At Nicole Haig & Associates, we want to help business owners just like you reclaim your freedom. Freedom to spend quality time with loved ones, freedom from stress, and freedom from financial burdens. But how do we do it? It's simple. We listen, we understand, and we create bespoke, structured programs tailored to your unique business and personal goals. With the right education, coaching, and expert advice, we'll show you how to increase profits, improve cash flow, and align your business and personal goals. Don't do it alone. Let NH+A be your guide to success. Work smarter, not harder, with our proven accountability methods. Your freedom starts here. Contact us today. Welcome.
That is such a very kind introduction. Thank you.
Well, there's a lot there to cover and to get through.
I'm just a bit exhausted listening to it all, actually.
So am I. And that's one of the questions. I don't know how you find the time.
I don't know either. I do sit there sometimes and wonder how I fit it all in, because I do, like my children and the youngest I have full-time care of, so it's a long, big job.
So needing to be able to finish at 3 o'clock or before 3 to get to school.
Yeah, or arrange someone to get them home. And,
exactly.
Yeah, so it is pretty full on.
And then the Taekwondo?
Yes, that's actually like my release in some ways, but I started that as a kid. And I stopped for a long time. And then my son wanted to get into it. And so I took him to a class, which just happened to be my instructor who I had when I was a kid. He's still going.
The same instructor?
Yeah, so we've gone back. And so he's taking me. So then I've decided to now finish what I started. So I have my black belt grading this year.
Oh, so you've got the tip and then
so it's a black tip. So you go, so it's red belt, black tip.
Yes.
And then they prepare you for your black belt grading, which is breaking boards and having fights and stuff like that.
The concrete blocks, you do that?
Yeah, no, wooden blocks.
Right, wooden blocks.
Wooden boards. We'll say boards because blocks sounds pretty impressive, but no, they're boards. Yeah.
And that's going to be this year?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, how exciting.
So we're just training for that now.
It's quite an achievement.
I'm looking forward to it, actually. I do feel ready for it. So
and nice that you and your son have got something in common to
it's
do
fun, yeah. It is a lot of fun doing
yeah.
it together. He did stop actually for a bit, but I keep going, and now he's just gone back again.
And how old is he?
12.
12.
So he's starting this year.
How long has he been doing it
So
for?
he'd be about 3.5, 4 years, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And the discipline must be amazing.
Very much, yeah. I think, but it's actually the release of stress more than anything.
Yeah.
Because I think you pad up, right? So we do a lot of fighting in our taekwondo. So some people don't do so much fighting. We actually do a lot of fighting, and it's just the release. I don't know what it is, Nicole. There's something about getting a pad on and just kicking each other.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's a real release to it. So I think that provides me a lot of my stress relief and just going along and having fun because you don't really think about anything else. You let it all out.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself and your background.
So initially from Hornby, went to Hornby High School.
So you're Christchurch born and bred?
Christchurch born and bred, and pretty much apart from 1 year stint in Wellington, I've always been here.
Yeah.
And mum and dad live out at Lincoln now. But dad was a barber and mum was a milliner, so she made hats and stuff like that. So
that's a dying art.
Very much so, yeah. And we didn't have much money when we were growing up, but it changed when dad actually bought the barber shop in Hornby, which was called Hornby Hairdressers. And he sold that, but that changed their lives almost, becoming self-employed or becoming able to manage themselves a lot more rather than working with someone else.
How old were you at the time that they...
I was just thinking about that earlier, and I can't quite remember, but I was thinking about when did I start thinking about that sort of thing, being self-employed, and I always saw the difference in mum and dad when they took over that shop and they both worked in there, and it was so busy, queues out the door. It wasn't one where you made appointments, you just turned up.
Right, okay.
So there was no appointments. You just turn up, you sit in your chair, and there'd be people all sitting there. There could be about 10, 11 or 12 sitting there, and they all knew who was up next, and there was no fights, there was no complaints. And then they'd go up, they'd do the haircut, and then, 15, 20 minutes later, they're out the door.
Just an orderly fashion.
Yeah, an orderly fashion. I think even haircuts back then were like $6 or $7. It was something silly because I used to help out and work in there. So that was pretty cool. And then from there, I started in the bank, basically. Went straight from school. I had 1 year at Polytech doing a banking certificate, and then got employed by Trust Bank, or Canterbury Savings Bank. Back in the day, I think it was. Yeah. And then sort of moved on from there.
So started as a teller?
Started as a teller because when I was young, and I used to work in the weekends, and I used to work during school holidays. So I'd work at the high school, so I got offered a job there. So I never really had 2 weeks off or anything like that. When I was at school. And I used to help out the caretaking. We'd do cleaning and clean the classrooms and mowing lawns, all that sort of stuff. And so I accumulated quite a bit of money. So I'd get my cheque and I'd go down to the bank and bank it, you see. And when I would go into the bank, I always used to think, well, that's what I want to do. When I get older, I'd like to, go into banking because they're all dressed up nicely and they're all, and so that's how all that came about.
And their corporate suits.
Suits, yeah, all very official and all very pleasant to talk to and everything else. And I banked my money and off I'd go. And then I did that banking certificate when I left high school. So I stayed through till 7th form, went from there to Polytech, and then straight into, banking from there. So, Canterbury Savings Bank.
And then how did you make the jump from the bank to mortgage broking?
So when I started at the bank, I discovered that the main part of the job I enjoyed was the people. So not necessarily working behind the scenes and doing, because they're doing all the admin and that sort of stuff. It was actually more front of house. And we used to work on the commercial department. There was a friend of mine, Dwayne, and we worked on the commercial department at in Riccarton there, and so we had all the business people coming and going, and we got on so well with them that they at that time, so I'll just back up, they used to rotate you around different areas of the bank, and Dwayne and I got on so well, and we got on so well for clients. When they went to rotate us, the customers complained, so we had to be put back on again onto the together. Yeah. But it was just we just worked well together, and we laughed and we gave everyone a hard time. And I think it was there that I sort of discovered that I enjoyed that. Once again, self-employed people you're talking to, very, very interesting. But it was more that customer, direct customer focus. So as I worked my way through the bank, I became a mobile mortgage manager, because I discovered that that's what I wanted to do when I was in the bank. So out of all the roles that were offered and available, that was the one I really wanted. And so I worked my way towards that, got that. And I think it's been about 7 or 8 years doing that with National Bank originally, and which moved to ANZ. And then after a while, I decided that I wanted to do something different. And I actually left. I didn't actually intend to be a full-time mortgage broker. I left to finish my psychology degree at Canterbury University.
Wow.
And because I'd started it at the bank, and they were paying for it, which was nice, but I wanted to finish it. So I thought, and I needed a bit of a break. So I left the bank to do that. And I thought, and I had kids and everything. So I thought, just to earn a little bit of extra income, I'll do some mortgage brokering. So that's how that came about. And then, of course, my clients followed me. So I got busier and busier and busier. I still have not finished my degree. It's still in limbo. And then the mortgage brokering just took off because people just followed me. And that's what it was all about.
Intimate contact and somebody who already knew the story.
And knew them. And that is such a key, because you don't... I know a lot of things about a lot of people, and you know more about them than probably anyone else does, really, in theory, with all their finances and everything else. But because you're in such a position of trust, they share everything with you, literally.
Yeah.
So you know a lot about them. So they are very loyal, and they don't want to go anywhere else. So, yeah. And as long as people knew where I was when I left the bank, I didn't have to chase anyone. As long as I just had a little basic website at the time. And so if people searched up, they could easily find me, and then it just sort of grew from there.
So in terms of marketing, that was the only aspect that you had, was the website, which is just a point of contact.
It was. And interesting, because around the marketing side, I really did nothing, because it wasn't what I was intending to do.
Yeah.
And it's just quite bizarre. And then it just organic. Grew. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
But it goes to show the power of just trying to do the right thing, I guess. I always felt I have looked after my clients as best as my ability. And they've obviously really appreciated it. So, yeah, and it just grew from there. It is quite bizarre, but, no marketing from that point of view.
And I think that loyalty sticks, doesn't it, and that trust, because it's not just dealing with their finances, as you mentioned, but it's also you get the whole package of what's going on in their life, and, that counselling side comes into it as well.
Yes, it is, and I share as well. Like, I'm not a closed book, so a lot of them know a lot of things about me as well, and they still give me a hard time about some of the things that I've done, and I don't mind. It's just good fun. Actually, one client in particular, I tell him I've extended his life expectancy, because one thing I told him, which I won't repeat on here, that he gets so much enjoyment out of it, and he laughs and laughs every time I talk to him. I think he just rings me so we can talk about that particular thing, and I keep telling him I've increased his life expectancy because of that. So. Yeah.
I think people do underestimate the value of those relationships as well, don't they?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So then, how did you get into the beauty industry?
Well,
quite a contrast from finance and banking.
I like to give things a go.
So spray tans.
So initially it was, spray tan. So when I was a broker working for myself, I came across this person who was setting up a tanning business, and he said, "Do you want to be involved?" I originally said no, and he talked me into it. And so initially, then I invested in it, and then that business grew, but I didn't like the way it was growing, and I didn't like. And I'm not saying that it was just he wasn't a good person to deal with, shall we put it that way?
Right, okay.
And so I wanted to get out of that in the end. And so I was a silent partner, so I wasn't really involved too much in the day-to-day operations. I just invested quite a bit of money and wanted it to grow and return me something that I didn't have to do much for, basically provide a return. And that seemed like a good way to go. So it didn't work out. And the only way for me to get out was of that business relationship, because it was quite toxic in the end, it wasn't working, was to take over a couple of the salons that the group had, which is what I did,
right,
and then rebrand them.
Okay.
So I became his competitor in the end. He fell over, and then I bought one of his salons, combined them with the ones I had, and then just pushed forward from there. So,
and from that experience, you could, because there's always something good that comes out of something bad, right? So from that experience, you would have seen different processes, different customer, client contact, different marketing, different
it's
ways
interesting,
of doing.
Nicole, because what I discovered because I bought one of his salons and his database and the clients and everything else, and what I discovered, and didn't really think about it at the time, was he went under owing a lot of money, right? A lot. And he was operating the business as a Briscoe's, whereas no one actually buys anything unless it's on special,
right,
in reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but he was already the cheapest in town. So not only was he the cheapest in town, he was discounting it by 50%. So it was never going to work. But I never really cottoned on to that when I bought into that, when I took the business over from him.
So he had the whole lost leader situation.
Very much.
For the entire...
Smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
It was completely smoke and mirrors.
Right.
So, people he would be busy and he'd be popular, and there were people coming and going all the time. It was because it was so cheap. So when I took over, I couldn't run that model because I'd be end up in the same position.
Nobody can make money out of that.
No, so we had to keep the prices... So no discounts, effectively. We had to keep prices very level. But then, of course, people don't like that because that's not what they used to.
You've got to re-educate them.
You're re-educating them, exactly. And that's taken ages. And I would say we're still in that re-education process. I mean, there are times where you just go, man, this is just too hard, But I think we're getting there.
How long do you think that process has taken so far?
Well, I think I've had that Sydenham salon that I took over about a year now. So...
Okay.
It started at Christmas time just to turn, but then, of course, we've been hit with the economic issues we've got at the moment, so then it's dropped off. So it's been really hard to see.
It's a bit of a luxury item at the moment.
It is a bit of a luxury item. We are still well priced, but we're priced more for the student or young people rather than the older generation, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. But still, they're not really outspending. So it's been...
Would the current client or customer base be the same as what it was, and have you just re-educated those people, or are they all brand new people?
Well, we had, I think it was 230 odd appointments last week, and out of those, 100 of them were new. So I think there's, new to our booking system anyway, but I think there's a mixture of both going on. I think it's almost when the other one fell over, because he owed people a lot of money, they probably didn't want to use them for a start. Yeah. And we
tainting associated?
We did get tainted with that as well. Yeah. So it was just trying to get away from that. And I think that time's passed now, and they know we're different. We're a different name. We're standing on our own and everything else. So I think it's a mixture of both. It's a mixture of those people now coming back and accepting the price as it is, but also just new ones cottoning on to the fact that we're there and we're not the same as what we was before.
In that period of time where you were trying to do the re-education, was that a really challenging time? I mean, I'm assuming cash flow would have been significantly less. And
Yeah. I think for me, I was very fortunate to have a very successful business, which was the mortgage business, being able to prop up the other business, which is probably not ideal, but that was exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
And probably without that mortgage business, it probably never would have survived. Okay. But I can see now, a way forward almost, like I can see some patterns, I can see what's happening. There was a ball last week, which is why we were so busy, but we've just sort of growing again like we used to, like we were at the end of last year. So I can see a little bit of positive, change coming. And that could be a little bit positive news around the economy as well, has been coming out with inflation and things like that, where people seem to be feeling a little bit better.
Yeah.
Mornings like this morning, although it was really cold, it's been a nice day. It just, hopefully the tide will start to turn. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes, agreed.
Cross fingers.
I'm sure. And then you must see similarities between both the businesses in terms of, I know they're different industries, but, there's still the same cash flow issues. There's the same.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah, I think for the mortgage business, it was very much about me and what I could do, and it was very reliant on me. With the beauty business, I'm very reliant on other people because obviously I can't work in there, and I'm not a beauty therapist, nor do I do spray tans. So
you've got other people in the business who do the
correct, who do the work, and also one lady who oversees it as well. But it's hard because you're not there, and you're not there on a daily basis, and you can't do everything, and you've got to find the right people to fill those gaps that are always going to be there. And I probably find that because I do struggle to let things go. Like I feel like I have to.
It's still your baby.
Well, it is, and it's my investment. It's my money, and I've put a lot on the line for this, so it's got to work. Otherwise, what's it all about? And no one ever really cares like you do about your business.
Correct.
And so they're very different businesses from the point of view of one, I'm not so involved, and I'm very reliant on the staff doing the right thing. The other one, it's just about me and what I can do. And if I do a good job, then the money will come in. If I don't, then it won't. But I'm the one that's managing that. But with the other one, it's a lot tougher.
And in terms of culture with the other one, with the beauty, the spray tans, do you find that you're not there? Does that impact the culture, or do you see them on a regular basis?
Look, I've been terrible lately at not going as often as I should do. And I need to get in there more. So yes, it does impact, I think, if I'm not there just to talk to them about different things and what's going on, and to check in with the staff. But yeah, because I don't think I have a huge amount to add in their day-to-day operations, but I probably underestimate that. I think I actually do, not so much on how they should do their job, but are they doing the right thing? And sometimes they just have questions that they're too scared to ask. But if I'm sitting there, they'll quite happily have a chat to me about it.
And in terms of the numbers, do you do all of that yourself? You prepare your own reports for both entities, and you're keeping an eye on what's happening on a regular basis?
Yes, I do, yeah. So their booking system's really good. So we've got 3 salons. We've got Maryvale, Ilam and Sydenham. So I just keep an eye on each one to see how they're performing. Ilam's the newest one, and that's the one I think I'll get the most benefit out of. I don't know why. I just have this feeling about it. And because part of that, and it's fun, taking on that lease was the little coffee shop that's there as well, which I've got a shareholding in that. But sometimes I wished I'd taken a bigger shareholding in that.
Because it's so successful.
It's been so successful. And it's probably just a different thing again, but it's right in the heart of the student area. And it's just busy. It's got queues, and there's been minimal marketing. But it's just been an idea that's been the right spot.
And people travel for good coffee.
They do travel for good coffee, but lots of people walking past. It reminds me of a street in New York sometimes when I go there on the weekends and I see all these people wandering up and down this complex down Waimari Road. It's quite incredible. And it's flat out. The coffee shop's flat out. So my son's got that one. He took that on.
Yeah.
So I had the idea and I sold it to him, and then he ran with it.
Wow.
So it's good.
You certainly have got your fingers in a lot of pies.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad, Nicole, honestly. I'm trying to figure it all out. I think sometimes you can take on too much and you spread yourself too thin, and then that's when things can start to actually tumble over. So you've got to be very, very careful.
But that's where the external type of exercise
the exercise and getting other people, and I'm not good at it, but I need to embrace it more, is getting other people and accepting help when people offer
to
it.
Delegate.
And to delegate.
It's hard,
I'm not a
but we
good
have
one.
talked about that a few times on this episode.
Yeah.
And this show about delegation and abdication and understanding the difference between the two. But yes, it can be very difficult to let go.
It can, and I do struggle with that, I have to admit.
So we're nearing the end. It's gone super fast.
Right.
Wow. So we've got some quick fire questions.
Yes.
What would be the biggest lesson that you've learnt in business?
Actually, it probably would be the delegation, to be honest. Not take it all on yourself. You spread yourself too thin, and you worry that you're not there for everyone, including your children, actually. Yeah.
And then it affects your health.
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
So what would your money mindset be, scarcity or abundance?
You mean wanting to earn lots, or
yes,
not really abundance. I don't think. I just love the thrill of it. You know, like it was funny. There's something for sale up in Auckland, and it's a basketball court thing that they've set up as a business up there. And I'm thinking, that'd be so cool to have something like that here. And all of a sudden, your mind just starts working overtime. So I always think if I had spare money, it would just go back into something else. So I don't know if it's about abundance. It's just about having fun and probably trying to fit as much in as I can.
And I think a lot of our mindset comes from our childhood as well, where we were, some of us grew up in an environment where it was money doesn't grow on trees. It's very hard to do.
Which was us.
Yeah. What sparks joy for you?
It would actually be watching the kids play sport. The Saturday mornings for the football.
It's pretty rewarding, isn't it?
I just love it. It's my best. It's the best. And my son, my oldest boy, comes down to watch the youngest. He brings the coffee from the coffee hut, which is our coffee place, and so we're at Burnside Park. He arrives, Mum and Dad arrive, we have a family.
It's a routine now. It's become a ritual.
It's very much a routine, and I'm going to miss it when the season stops. So, but hopefully he'll play something else. But tonight we're off to martial arts together and things like that. So it definitely is the sports and the kids.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so you've got an all expenses paid dinner anywhere in the world, at any restaurant, and where would you go and with whom?
Right, so I don't know where I'd go for the restaurant as such because I'm not too worried, right? But I'd definitely go to New York.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. And I'd want to have dinner with Bono from U2.
Oh, that's amazing.
That would be amazing. So that's why, I don't care where the restaurant is. It could be just a cheap... There could be McDonald's there. I actually don't really mind as long as I'm sitting there yarning to him. That would be wonderful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I love that one. I love it. Okay, so that concludes our enriching discussion with Brent Lattimore, who is a seasoned serial entrepreneur and obviously specifically with finance industry experience, which has helped out both the businesses. So thank you so much for being with us today and offering such invaluable insights. This time always goes super fast and we never cover everything we're wanting to cover.
Thank you.
And it's great to hear your stories about the challenges and the successes along the way as well, and of course your family as well, which is obviously really important.
Yes, very much so.
So for those looking to explore more with Brent's expertise and the services he offers, visit his profile on, is it the Apex website?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the website? Is it Apex?
It's www.apexgroup.co.nz.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any other social media like LinkedIn or?
I have got LinkedIn. To be fair, I haven't used it much. I'm terrible. But yeah, I am on LinkedIn. But if you Google search my name, definitely crops up.
Everyone will find you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today as a guest. So thank you so much again for sharing your time and your knowledge.
More than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us on the Accountology Show. If you have enjoyed today's show, you're in luck because we'll be back next week. You'll find past episodes at plainsfm.org.nz and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify to never miss an episode. We would love it if you would leave a 5-star review and tell a friend or business owner who would benefit from hearing our show. We also love hearing from you, so reach out with any comments or a topic you'd like covered, and even suggestions for whom we should get in the studio next for an interview. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and TikTok. Our handle is NH Plus Associates, that's NHPLUS Associates, or email me, nicole@nh-a.co.nz. But most importantly, thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. Until next time, keep building that business into the empire it absolutely deserves to be.